The Chicago Bears are making a massive gamble by selecting Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. If you go back and look at this team last year, while they didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard at all in 2023, the truth is this is a team that finished 7-10. They weren't the best team, but when they were good and they were firing on all cylinders, this was one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL, led by one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you go back and look at that 2021 NFL Draft, Justin Fields was a guy that people saw so much potential in. And I feel like in 2023, that was the first time that we saw that potential really be achieved by him and really move him into the conversation as not just an emerging quarterback, but as a good starting quarterback. Whether or not people want to admit it, whether or not people want to say that it translated to wins, which look, it did not. The fact of the matter is, given that he didn't really have a good offensive line around him, given that his best weapon was DJ Moore, who is a great wide receiver, but he didn't have largely anything else to work with, this is a guy who outpaced expectations for the 2023 season. Many people wrote him off as a bust before the season even began, and people are going to say that it was a no-brainer to select Caleb Williams. And while I truly believe Caleb Williams is one of those can't-miss prospects, it's still a gamble. You don't know, and that is the dangerous thing about the NFL draft. There have been so many quote-unquote can't-miss prospects in NFL history. There have been so many people that we have looked at that have passed the eye test. Unfortunately, though, when a guy comes from college to the NFL, adapting to the game and the speed of it is something that no one can prepare you for. Until you get on that field, you don't know what it feels like to take that hit at the speed that those defenders deliver it. You don't know what it's like to process the game at that level. And this is not me saying that Caleb Williams will not be able to do that and possibly do it quickly, but taking away Justin Fields, who you know is a guy who can work in that system, who you know is a guy you can build on in that system, and using your number 1 pick here to pick a quarterback when you could have argued that they had that position solidified, it has to raise a little bit of concern, because they could have very easily taken this pick, traded away for multiple other picks, and picked an offensive tackle, picked another weapon, picked a great defensive end, or anything else. But instead, they are choosing to essentially just get rid of one quarterback, which they basically did for Justin Fields. They got a mid-round draft pick for him. And you do it at a time where Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are both going into their 3rd year. There are a lot of expectations when you're a coach and a GM who go into their 3rd year. People aren't just thinking, okay, building on the success of the previous season. People are thinking playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs in your 3rd year, that is going to put your job not only at risk, but probably ensure that you are going to be fired come season's end. And Matt Eberflus has the potential here to possibly work with a guy who is young and who has worked in a great system under Lincoln Riley. But no matter what, Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus have tied themselves to this pick. If it doesn't work out this year and they're faced with a situation where they're fired, that not only hurts their reputation, but it also hurts Caleb Williams, because then Caleb Williams is going to be in his 2nd year with a new offensive coordinator, with a new head coach, with an entirely new coaching staff that he has to adapt to and relearn a system from. And that, no matter what people want to say, that can set a young quarterback back. And we have seen time and time again, young quarterbacks be victims of the coaching carousel. Look at Sam Darnold, look at Baker Mayfield, look at any quarterback over the past few years who's been drafted high and been faced with multiple head coaches in their first few years. It can be very hard to bounce back from, and it can in many ways ruin your reputation when you don't immediately succeed with the next guy. So all that being said, we all wish Caleb Williams the best of luck. However, for the Bears and Bears fans, they got to know this is a massive gamble, but I guess we'll see.